There's a lot happening at the moment with the current Commission in the field of sustainable finance. And therefore the challenge for the existing Commission is to finalize as much as possible, but the challenge for the next Commission and the next Parliament will be actually to take over and really benefit and leverage upon the good work, the very good work performed by the existing Commission. That is in the field of disclosures in particular. As a member of the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, the so-called TCFD, I'm really looking forward to what the Commission and the Parliament will actually propose in terms of guidelines to support the non-financial directive. They are at the moment rejuvenating the guidelines to make them more compliant with the TCFD recommendations. So this is all very jargonic, but it's the 11 disclosures proposed by the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures have already been, in the spirit of the existing non-reporting directive, but not all of them. In particular, the one on climate-related scenario analysis is going to be really important. For the banking industry, the insurance companies, as well as for the issuers from the industry, the biggest challenge of the TCFD is about the climate-related scenario analysis and their disclosure. And it's not very easy for the reason that there is no standard as to how you can actually develop your scenario and align it to existing 2-degree scenarios from the International Energy Agency, from the IPCC, or another framework aligned with the 2-degree objective. So, big challenge for the future, certainly. I think in the shorter horizon, the 12-month horizon, I'm going to be very interested seeing the developments of the taxonomy on green finance, let's say. Okay, the taxonomy's objective is to actually describe what is green versus what is gray, what is brown. And that is going to be made in a text of regulation, but the criteria used to select those activities, for instance banking activities, will have to be able to be adjusted in time so that there is an evolution of the criteria in the time. Because what is green today is not necessarily going to be green tomorrow. Or let's say there will be more and more pressure from the general public to make more restrictive human activities, banking activities. And the challenge will then be for this group of people working on the taxonomy to describe also what to do with those activities that are not green. Namely, you can't say from one day to the other, this particular business is not green, therefore cannot be financed, because that would be the collapse of that particular activity and all the social consequences of that. And the taxonomy is not meant to be including the social dimension at the moment, but certainly that will be an exercise for the Commission and the Parliament for the future. How do you create a social taxonomy? Hopefully there will not be a second taxonomy, but the adjustment of the existing taxonomy that is focusing on the environment, so that we really reconcile the aspiration of the people from a social standpoint and from a climatic standpoint. We've seen all the demonstrations taking place at the moment, on one hand against a lack of activities to mitigate climate change for one of the groups, the other group on the social situation of the poorest. And they don't talk to each other sometimes. Sometimes they even fight each other. And that is something that the Commission and the Parliament needs to be aware of, namely the aspiration of the people is really to propose a text of law that includes not only taking care of the environment, but also taking care of the social dimension.